In our first scenario, we'll cover ArcSight's arguably most differentiating feature, layered analytics. This is a term we use to show the successful marriage between our mature real-time correlation capability, known as ArcSight ESM, with our newer technology, ArcSight Intelligence, our UEBA batch analytics solution. We see both of these layers as fundamental to our solution, providing actionable insights to our customers so that the most important threats float to the top of the analyst queue. In this high-level ArcSight architecture diagram, you can see that the red boxed components provide advanced detection to ensure full coverage of the threat spectrum, no matter how low and slow adversaries may be moving within the environment. We'll prove this with an example, walking you through the life of a SOC analyst who finds this inside threat within the environment. The gentleman named Joshua Newman, using his PC, who happens to execute a PowerShell script, followed by a remote desktop session being opened. These two events, no matter how non-critical they appear in isolation, do provide significance to the analyst because they have been happening back to back, and our real-time correlation engine detects this behavior, flagging it as a medium-level alert, but being only medium level may not appear at the top of the analyst queue. So what we do is to utilize our top 5 riskiest users, which includes Joshua Newman, which also marries with our correlated alert and combined becomes a critical level incident in our ArcSight SOAR engine to attract the correct level of our analyst's attention. This is layered analytics in action, UEBA results feeding the correlation engine with the business outcome of auto-generating the most impactful incidents by moving the threat to the top of the analyst queue and enabling them with auto-response capabilities. We'll demonstrate this now. After logging into the ArcSight Fusion UI, this is our single pane of glass management interface, the analyst now clicks on the Respond button on the left to open up the case management screen. On the top left, we now see all cases, and even after sorting by severity, there remain multiple urgent cases at the top, so we only focus on the open cases by clicking the button with the same name. To select the top urgent case, we see that it appears to be an attack kill chain by a suspicious user, Joshua Newman. And what is interesting to note is that this user also appears to have run these two attacks back to back. We can drill down and find that this is indeed a correlation event coming from the correlation engine. Now I want to find out how this user came to be flagged as suspicious by going back to my dashboard and then into the analytics dashboard. One of the best views is to review the UEBA entity risk. We can drill down into the user's view and then explore to visualize all the risky entities. In the graph view, I can click on the timeline and I can review all of the risky entities. Indeed, I see Joshua Newman as one of the most suspicious users in the last 30 days. By clicking on the timeline, I can focus in on particular areas. We can see that although his risk score reached a peak of 100 following a sequence of not so innocent activities, his behavior started to stabilize and become normal, causing his risk score to decay over time. Then I click on the eye icon to make things more visual, also providing the overall tactic names mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. It's quite a history of suspicious activities. If I click on the initial access button, I can then see where he's been logging in and at what times. Unusual working hours, which could of course be due to the corona pandemic virus, but as everyone has been working from home, sleep patterns have been negatively affected for almost everyone that I know. In itself, this may or may not be a problem. Instead, let's have a look at his command and control related actions. There are far too many alerts on this particular tactic for this user. It looks bad, and I want to focus and get to the bottom of this. To make actions stand out and get more of the critical and extremely critical suspicious activities, I move the risk slide all the way up. Let's have a look at his latest exfiltration activity. He seems to have uploaded a significantly large amount of data to a website on first access. The quantity of data is flagged as it significantly exceeds the baseline for other users. So that makes 2 anomalies back to back, providing us a clear indicator for a possible targeted attack campaign. This is what we see with current adversaries. Upon landing on the systems, they time slice their activities, placing long wait times in between their anomalous activities which might otherwise fail to trigger static threshold-based detection. We keep track of their normal behavior even when the entities appear to go dormant through the suspicious entity lists within our real-time analytics engine. Without losing focus, let's quickly look at the correlation to see how it got the hint. I click on the resources to look at my active lists, here used to track our suspicious entities, where we receive dynamic insights from our UEBA engine. As you can see, we have these top 5 riskiest entities, and yes, sure enough, our suspicious user Joshua Newman is listed and ready to be used within any of our real-time correlation rules. Finally, let's take a look at how this really happened under the hood. ArcSight Intelligence adds points based on an individual's abnormal behavior against his own or his group's calculated baseline. This is a tried and tested method to uncover insider threats. I would argue that it's impossible for a malicious user to look identical to the legitimate owner of an account, because at some point they're going to do something unusual or out of character. For example, they might use a different executable, connect using a different protocol, log in an unusual server, and so on. So if you're watching from enough different perspectives, and if you're evaluating enough baselines, then it doesn't matter how they got in, they're going to trigger an unusual behavior somewhere. If you have machine analytics asking the right questions for your environment, your SOC has a fighting chance to find those malicious actors before the full breach can be executed. Our real-time correlation engine is running out-of-the-box content with multiple concurrent detection rules, firing in memory, waiting to catch these attacks in real time. In this content, we see an example MITRE ATT&CK chain model, which leverages active lists populated in real time by insights generated by our UBA engine. Sure enough, our suspicious user Joshua Newman is captured here during the life cycle of the attack, and upon executing the attack chain, triggered detection within the correlation engine. In summary, the behavioral insights provided by our UBA engine, when coupled with the real-time detection of the correlation engine, provides us with the high-fidelity findings we need to maximize SOC productivity. This is what we call layered threat detection in ArcSight, and this ends my first demonstration.